Appreciate you. Love you guys. Remember, I love the negative comments as well as the positive comments because it's all about growth. And I mean GROWTH. It's all about growth. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me your time. I appreciate you riding with me. The 2025 NBA playoffs uncertainty. And believe that's what it has been. Yes, sir. The 2025 NBA uncertainty playoffs. That's for certain. First of all, I want to shout out to the new young kids on the block. The Detroit Pistons, the Orlando Magic, the Houston Rockets that made their presence in the 2025 playoffs this year. Good looking, kiddos. Good looking. I mean, you played well. You made a good showing. Of course, we know how the Detroit Pistons took New York Knicks to almost the threshold. You know, really almost took them 7 because one of them games, it was a phantom call that wasn't called. Shout out to the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. Shout out to you guys, you coming. Also, the Orlando Magic, who was facing the Seas, the world champion of Boston Celtics, and they got a game in that first round playoffs. They made a good showing. Shout out to Banchero, good young kid. Them young kids are coming. You know, they youngsters too. Also, the Houston Rockets, unbelievable series against Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and the Golden State Warriors. Took them 7. I believe that was one of the most grueling playoff series Golden State had played in a while. And really, they had Golden State tuned in, and that's why after that playoff series, I was like, hey man, Golden State, that's what they needed. If Golden State ain't homed in and dialed in, they are dialed in now. The Cleveland Cavaliers also are in the playoffs for the second year in a row. They made the postseason. One thing that seems to be developing in the NBA playoffs, especially this year, people, is the introduction or the big time showing of parity. And that's what I love. I love parity because, don't get me wrong, we love all the historic great franchises, the LA Lakers, the New York Knicks, you know, the Boston Celtics. In fact, all 3 of them was in the 2025 playoffs. But I think it's great when you see somebody that you're not expecting step up, you know, saying, let me get a little taste of it. They want to taste a little victory. They want to taste championship. They want to taste coming to the big dance. So I think this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Definitely a sway of dominance than the norm. And you can see it coming. You know, in the 2025 NBA playoffs, road teams responded with a strong performance. They had 28 wins in round 1 and 2. Do you hear me? 28 wins from the road team. So you already thinking, it don't make no difference where you're playing. I'd rather play on the road than play at home. Well, what that shows is teams are just ready. They prepared. And I believe that old saying, like a lot of great athletes and expertise would say, a lot of time it's less pressure when you're on the road. Because when you're at home, you know, you got the family, you got people getting tickets, you got the girlfriend and the wife there. It's high expectations. So when you're on the road, you got that me against the world attitude. And a lot of times, that's all they need to get you over the hump. I mean, the outcome was obvious. The lower seeds were advancing to the next rounds in the win or go home sweepstakes. In the 2025 NBA playoffs, for the first time in NBA history and since the time span, all 4 game ones in the conference semifinals, round 2, were won by road teams. Golden State, I know, won. The New York Knicks won. I believe Golden State, the New York Knicks won. Anthony Ant-Man Edwards them won. And somebody else, I can't think of that full team. But yeah, all 4 teams won. I mean, it was just, the Indiana Pacers, what I'm thinking about. The Indiana Pacers knocked off the Cleveland Cavaliers. that Tyrese Halliburton and them Indiana Pacers, that's a real sneaky team. They don't kill you with, when you look at them on paper or when you look at them from the eye test, with this great, remarkable athletic ability or nothing like that. But they play together and blend in together as a unit, and they're unbelievable. And we also know Rick Carlisle is a Hall of Fame coach. Rick Carlisle was a great staple with them Boston Celtics team. Rick Carlisle also won a championship with the Dallas Mavericks with Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki. So we also know how great Rick Carlisle is. So that's just what's up. So, you know, Rick Carlisle has skin on the wall. And that's a fact. That indeed, it takes process for progression in the NBA playoffs, just like any other playoffs. See, you gotta fail before you lose. That's what the experience. I even heard the great Michael Jordan said that about his vaunted Bulls team. You have to fail before you succeed, because you have to learn how to win. You can be the most talented team, but a lot of times you got to go through them bumps and bruises, and then put a Band-Aid on them bumps and bruises, and then you are healed. And then when you heal, that means when you got over the hump. Now, you millennials are not familiar with this term. You millennials are not familiar with this term. See, I'm old school. And so, Coach Von Phillips, I'm going to take a football term. He used to be the coach of the Houston Oilers. See, that was the city of Houston's first NFL franchise team before the Houston Texans. And back in the day, we talking about 1979 to 1980, 81, 82. See, again, this is something that probably go over you millennials' head because y'all was young. Y'all don't know that. But go back, Google it, and check your history. One great saying he also said was, we're not just here to kick the door in. We're not here to kick the door in. We're gonna knock that SOB down. We're not here just knocking on the door. We're gonna kick that SOB down. Go back and look at it. The irony of the thing about the great coach Von Phillips and the Houston Oilers, they had one of the greatest running backs of all time. Again, you millennials won't know, the great Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose, a battering ram of a running back out of the University of Texas, also was a Heisman Trophy winner. But I know you millennials, again, I can't stop saying, you're going to like, what is Nino, what is Aunt talk about? Pull up the Houston Oilers, Earl Campbell, and Coach Von Phillips. It's about like 1979 or 1982. They didn't win no championship, but Earl Campbell had some of the most remarkable runs playing them great Pittsburgh Steelers teams. I'm talking about, he was like, he was just like a bull that you couldn't tame. I mean, the dude was running, I'm talking about over people. That's why his career didn't last long as it was, because Earl Campbell was taking on linebackers and so on and so on. But to get back to the 2025 NBA playoffs, of course, how can I forget? How can my mind slip and I'm tripping out? OKC, which last year, remember, got knocked out by the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are also in the NBA playoffs. But OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and them young thoroughbreds. See, at the beginning of the year, at the preseason, the 2025 NBA championship, the Larry O'Brien Award, the two teams that people thought would be fighting for the Larry O'Brien Award would be the Oklahoma City Thunder and, of course, the Boston Celtics, the C's, because the C's basically returned back everybody they had when they knocked off the Dallas Mavericks last year in 5 games, 4 games won to win their 17th or 18th championship. I think their 18th championship, because I think they was tied with the Lakers, but they passed the Lakers, but to win their 18th championship. So them two teams in preseason were looked upon to be playing for the Larry O'Brien Award for the NBA championship for 2025. But as we see, the OKC Thunder, who also had the 2025 best regular season record, best record totally. I believe if they made it to the finals, they would have home field no matter who they play. They are in a dog fight with Nikola Jokic, two-time MVP, two-time NBA MVP, Jamal Murray, and Mr. Clutch himself, especially for the Denver Nuggets this year, one Mr. Aaron Gordon, who has hit 2-3 big-time shots, and we can't forget Aaron Gordon had that great putback a la Derek Whittenburg and Lorenzo Charles when North Carolina State played Houston, in which North Carolina State and the late great Coach Jim Valvano, God rest his soul, shocked the world and beat Houston. But that's crazy with it. But they are in a dogfight with the Denver Nuggets, even though the Nuggets had the lead just the other day. Oklahoma OKC came back and tied up 2-2. It's the best 2 out of 3. But as I see it, peeps, that game, that series is going 7 games. I don't know who's going to win that series because, like I say, Joker and them are just something that you can't just look past. Man, they got championship DNA. You know, Joker, Denver won the championship a couple of years ago with Coach Malone, which he's no longer with the Nuggets, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and them and the Oklahoma City Thunder, if they are able to make it out of this series in this round, I think they will gain a lot of experience. I think they will because this series here against Denver, if they can win, is really a strong prep for them to, if they go on to the next round, where it looks like it's going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves, because unfortunately, the Golden State Warriors won Game 1 against Minnesota, but that was the game that Steph pulled his hamstring. He hasn't played since, and they just keep it a buck. The Golden State Warriors haven't won since, you know. The Jimmy Butler trade and pickup was looking great before the playoffs, but I think he's still ailing from that tailbone injury he had against the Houston Rockets. And, you know, that's only one Steph Curry, the one and only Steph Curry, and he is sorely missed. But I think they were saying possibly if he can come back, he'll be ready for Game 6. But right now, I don't think he's going to make it to Game 6. We will see. They got a big game tomorrow night. But the Golden State Warriors are down 3-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, you know, it's really going to be crazy. We don't know. But, again, we will see. We will see. Also, the Boston Celtics, the Seas, the world champion, as I had seen, facing the New York Knicks. Now, I have talked to my partner David and a lot of other people, and when that series came into fruition, first thing I told David is, hey man, I just don't believe in the Knicks. Because I have seen the Knicks do this years ago, and they wouldn't answer the bell. But I'm going to have to eat my word. I'm going to have to apologize to Coach Tom Thibodeau. I have to apologize to Jalen Brunson. I'm going to have to give a big shout out to Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Big Cat. They doing their thing. They are 3-1 up on the champions, the world champions, the Seas, the Boston Celtics, with going back home tomorrow night, do or die win for the Boston Celtics at TD Garden Arena. They have to win. Also, New York is trying to close it out, and we all know the hardest game to play, people, is a closeout game, where you on the road or you at home. When you trying to end another team's season, that's the toughest game you can come with. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, all of them have to step up. They going to have to play the game of their life for this season to take the Seas out, because the Seas are not going to go out easy. But the storyline of the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks last game was, and it was a close one, they all-star forward, all-NBA forward, Jason Tatum, went down with a severe leg injury. And he was screaming, I'm talking about, he was screaming out of his mind. First hand, I thought it was a knee. But as I seen on the TV with the replay, he grabbed at his lower leg, and I kind of know what that was. And confirmation was today. Jason Tatum has suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon. He has tore his Achilles heel, if you want to put it in layman terms, and he's out definitely for the rest of his playoffs. But it's no return or timetable when he will be back. He is expected to have a full recovery, but we don't know. But I mean, that's the first time I ever seen Jason Tatum down. Remember, Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles tendon. I think they say when that happened, it feel like somebody that kicked you at the back of your leg. And when you see it on replay, it was a non-contact foul. He just stepped and went for it. That's the crazy thing about it. That was what was crazy about Kobe's. I remember seeing Kobe when he tore his Achilles tendon, or his Achilles heel. It's not a contact foul. It just, you step wrong and you pop that Achilles and it's gone. He could not put no pressure, and especially when they had to take him off, kind of caught him off the floor. I know, I'm like, this is bad. Man, you could hear a pin drop. Even that the game was at MSG, even they fans could feel that. But now the Knicks are 3-1, going back to TD Garden Arena, trying to handle their business and close it out, eliminate the Boston Celtics, and definitely the Boston Celtics will be without one of their perennial stars, Jason Tatum. My thought is, what done happened to Jaylen Brown, man? He got that big contract. What happened, Jaylen? You shouldn't have cut your hair. You like Samson. When you cut your hair, you lost your strength. Man, when you had them braids, you was balling out of control and your hair was long. You didn't cut your hair, and you have been a no-show. Where's Jaylen Brown? They gonna need you big time tomorrow. They gonna need you, Porzingis, Al Horford. They gonna need all you guys. Derek White and company. They gonna need all you guys, cause it's win or go home. It is win or go home. Also, the 2025 NBA lottery draft was last night. Man, you know, that's that little situation when you got about 12 teams who had the worst record, and they try to give them a chance. It's trying to be parity again to get, you know, the best players coming out, college or whatever, for the next NBA season. Now, the irony of this is the Dallas Mavericks, can you believe it, people, won the lottery pick. The same Dallas Mavericks that will go down for one of the most controversial trades in NBA history, when they send Luka Doncic, the face of the Dallas Mavericks, you know, NBA All-Star, a Hall of Famer, definitely was certain to have a statue outside of the AAC. This is a la Dirk Nowitzki. When they sent him to the Los Angeles Lakers, in return, the Los Angeles Lakers sent the Dallas Mavericks Anthony Davis. And I'm talking about Dallas Mavericks head of basketball operations, Nico Harrison, took a brunt of this negative comments from the Dallas Mavericks faithful and fans. They wanted Nico Harrison to be put in front of a firing squad, and you know afterwards what was going to happen to that. I mean, that man had got tormented and talked about they wanted his head, they wanted him to be fired right then and there. But it wasn't Nico Harrison now. He's only doing his job. The call on that, people, was, and I don't know why you people got it, it was the powers of head up above Nico Harrison. It was ownership that had that call. Some reason, though, that Luka Doncic, great as he is on offense, he's still a liability on defense. And we kind of seen it in the series when he was with the Lakers, when they played the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Dallas Mavericks ownership was like, nah, we're not going to give him no more money because Luka won't get in shape. He's great on offense, But you got to play defense to win championships, and Luka Doncic has seemed to refuse. Now, again, the Lakers who got outed by the Minnesota Timberwolves, maybe LeBron can get in his ear and hopefully convince him to work out a little bit and get his body a little bit better shape. Because if you remember, even in that last game when Minnesota eliminated the LA Lakers, Luka hurt his back in that game. LeBron hurt his leg, but I think that was a lot why the Dallas Mavericks ownership got rid of Luka. Now, on the flip side of that, Anthony Davis came and he got hurt, so he was out a little bit. So I thought it was a nice little matchup. You put Anthony Davis with Kyrie Irving, then you got Lively the second, you got Derrick Lively the second, you got P.J. Washington. You know, you got some pieces down low. You got big Daniel Gafford, you know, you got some pieces down low. By the time that Anthony Davis was going to come back, that's when Kyrie Irving tore his ACL when he tried to split them in that Sacramento Kings game. And, you know, Kyrie about 34, so now his career is up in the air because he's projected to come back January 2026. But Kyrie Irving is 34, 35 years old. If he come back, and I'm not saying he ain't, because Kyrie Irving is a guy in pretty good shape, and God willing, hoping he make a full recovery, but will he be the Kyrie Irving that we know? You know, because a lot of time it takes about 2 years. Look at Klay Thompson. He had them injuries, and Klay Thompson still never will be the real Klay Thompson that we know was winning them championships. He never will come back. I mean, he tried. Sometimes you come back, sometimes you don't. But, you know, if they won, the Dallas Mavericks won a lottery pick, and of course, we know they're going to have to pick the number 1 overall pick, which will be Mr. Cooper Flagg, the outstanding, sensational freshman out of the University of Duke, who also won the 2024-2025 NCAA College Men's Collegiate Division I Most Valuable Player. So, like I say, look like the basketball guys, even though the Dallas Mavericks were having a lot of bad luck and a lot of misfortunes early, still looked out for them because they lost Luka, but Cooper Flagg is also projected to be a generational talent. So if Kyrie Irving does come back, and like I say, his career is still up in the air because of the injury, but does Kyrie Irving want to play with the Dallas Mavericks? That'll be a good hookup, you know, with Cooper Flagg. Then you still got AD, you got Derrick Lively the second, you got Gafford, you got P.J. Washington. It could be a good nucleus with that team, but it also goes on how the recovery of Kyrie Irving. And also, people, you got to remember, Jason Kidd is no longer the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. He either stepped down or he got terminated, but I think he stepped down. I think with all what was going on, and he still wasn't approved like that Luka trade, I think he just had enough. So he moved on. Jason Kidd is no longer the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. So now the Dallas Mavericks have to get them a new coach. But it was just interesting. All that went on with the Dallas Mavericks, and they come back around, and they get the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NBA lottery draft. And of course, it would be hands down. It better be one Mr. Cooper Flagg. Another thing that's interesting, people, that I just thought about when I was sitting down in Maryland, actually I was sitting down eating, Dallas has did good on draft this year. I'm talking about both professional teams, the Dallas Wings and the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Wings got the number 1 overall pick in the lottery pick, one Miss Paige Beckers out of the University of Connecticut, who won the national championship, you know, with Gino Auriemma. And the Dallas Mavericks got one Mr. Cooper Flagg, who they should have won the national championship. They was my pick. But anyway, he still was a perennial MVP. And of course, the number 1 overall pick coming out. And he is a generational talent, they're going to be saying. So we're going to see. But anyway, The 2025 NBA playoffs uncertainty. 2 cents. This is my podcast. I'm Nino. Thank you.